So I'm a fifth generation farmer from the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, which is about 100 miles southwest of here in DC. We raise about 800,000 broiler chickens a year for Pilgrim's Pride, and we usually background about 180 head of feeder cattle. And then the rest is in crops: corn, soybeans, barley, and then we do 18 acres of sweet corn that we retail and sell all of it right there at the farm. In the Shenandoah Valley, Interstate 81 runs literally just right by our farm. So, I mean, I learned about conservation from my grandfather and my father. It's been something that they've always modeled. And honestly, I don't remember the last time that we've run a plow across our land. I mean, as far back as I can remember, our farm has been, everything's been no-till and been very proactive with planting cover crops and really, strip cropping, crop rotation. We as a farmer have participated through NRCS programs in the past, through EQIP, and we have CSP. And if you come to our farm, we have two signs that are on the fence at the entrance. One is where we placed conservation easements on our farm in 2017, which I'm extremely proud of. And then the other one is a Clean Water Farm Award from our local Soil and Water Conservation District. So to bring that background into this position now, to be able to lead the agency, is a real neat opportunity.
Tell us about what you were working on yesterday and what that means for...
Oh, the conservation standards, yeah. So one of the things, we have conservation practices. Basically, these are all of the things that are approved practices that farmers can implement on their farming operations. And so every so many years, we have to kind of do an update on that. And as part of the Farm Bill, they require us that we do an update. So basically, in order to do it officially, you have to list it with the Federal Register that puts it out there, makes it public, and then farmers and stakeholders can comment on that. So they have until April 25th to submit comments, to make any changes to our practices. Things adapt and evolve over time. And so our conservation practices, it's good to review them and make sure if there's new ones we need to add or some that have kind of become outdated. This week in DC, there's a lot going on. It's our fly-in for the National Association of Conservation Districts. So a lot of those folks are in town visiting on the Hill. We have a lot of our new state conservationists are in town to do a week-long training, and so I spent some time with them yesterday. We have a joint forestry team that's in town. We did an MOU basically partnering with the Forest Service and NACD and NRCS and the work that we do together. And also, we're in the process of writing the rules and regulations for the Farm Bill. And so as our work groups are working through that, they keep elevating certain issues that finally are to my desk. And then so I'm getting ready to do our first briefing with the Undersecretary on ASEP, which is our conservation easement program.
Emails that I may have seen last night.
With the president's budget, or?
Yeah, and that conservation CRP ground could go right back into tillage and would let go everything, all the organic matter and benefits we've developed over the past 20 years.
I don't think that'll happen. I mean, the president, released a budget this week, and in that, there's going to, he's calling for cuts across the board. Again, that's the first step. Certainly, a budget has to be voted on by Congress, and I've also seen the comments from the leadership in Congress that they didn't agree with a lot of the cuts that the president had in his budget. I mean, it's a process. So I guess I'm going off the assumption that the president signed the Farm Bill into law. Congress wrote the legislation, the president signed it, so that's their commitment towards conservation. We'll have to see as the next budget process takes place, but I do know there's a strong desire to keep conservation at the forefront. And I think in the budget there were some cuts to some USDA programs, but I really don't, from what I could tell, there weren't strong cuts to conservation programs. So Congress displayed that they have a strong commitment to conservation. I mean, most all of our programs received an increase in federal funds. No programs were created and no programs were taken away, so we're in the process now of kind of rewriting the rules and regulations to make them better. But yeah, I mean, there's a strong commitment. I mean, EQIP especially, that's our flagship program over the next 5 years. I mean, it's going to be up to $2 billion, I think even a little bit over $2 billion a year. So there's a strong commitment on behalf of Congress. And I love the view of the Capitol right out my window sometimes. It's kind of a neat symbolism that, they supply the funds, but then we're given the task to administer these programs. And definitely there's a strong commitment from Congress and signed by the President to continue making conservation a top priority.